stakes in here. What are we doing?
Yeah,
This is awful.
Cook's not up to par. That's why I have you here. I'm in charge. It's cool. And, ooh, we got ourselves a 2 in here, buddy. Looks like just a good old-fashioned 1. Another 1, you're kind of lucky. And, nope. Huh. Bring your tools. We've got a 4.
A 4? What the hell is a 4? Oh, jeez. Oh, boy.
Number 1 fan site for Impact Wrestling, TNAsylum.net, and Old School Dirty Heels Productions presents the TNA Asylum HeelCast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the HeelCast on TNAsylum.net, the number 1 site on the web for TNA fans. I'm TNA Dude, and this week I'm joined by the man who makes the knockout squeal, Mr. Numero 47. Numero, how's the cell phone, buddy?
Oh, you know what? It's a lot better, and just in time, too. You know, we're already in June, and you know what? We have all these petitions going on, but I think I'm going to start a Twitter campaign to sort of bring TNA back to New York for the summer, because I'm ready for some live TNA shows myself.
Dude, you know what? I am in for that. I might even come up and stay with you for a couple days and go to some shows with you, pal.
Hashtag TNA to New York.
I'm in. Everybody write that down. Hashtag TNA to New York. Let's face it, those are the best shows anyway. Now, look, guys, of course, I'm also joined tonight by my brother-at-arms, the master of his own domain, and probably your wife's too, Mr. Raven Effect. Raven, how's it hanging, bro?
Well, you know, it's hanging pretty well after my little altercation with Mr. Matt Hardy. I had to tell him that I don't actually hate him, and I'm disappointed I was not called an internet ass nobody this week, but, you know, it was always nice to get the acknowledgement from Mr. Hardy, or whatever he's trying to be right now. Bride of Frankenstein.
Awesome.
Marv from Home Alone.
Now, look,
He's
guys,
a sticky bandit.
we got a
Wet
special...
Bandits.
They're no longer the Hardys, they're the Wet Bandits.
I have a feeling we're going to be talking about the Hardys a lot tonight.
What?
Defeats the
No.
purpose.
We got to keep this on lock.
Look, guys, before we get into the Hardys, we have a special celebration this week. Last week, TNAsylum.net celebrated its 6th year anniversary. Guys, I don't know about yourselves, but 6 years at TNA Asylum, it has been the best 6 years as a TNA fan for me. Literally a place where we can all go, comment, talk about TNA in a very positive way, but also speak our beef as well, and really communicate as fans.
Yeah, you know, I've been on the site for, I'm going to say, maybe a year and a half, 2 years now, but it's definitely one of the most comfortable TNA sites I've been to. I get along with pretty much everybody. I know I haven't been as active as I have been in the last couple of weeks, but I'm going through a couple of changes, but hope to, you know, sort of be back on the live shows, you know, just have these discussions that we can have in the civil matter.
TNA Asylum is, I mean, it's almost like a home away from home that I've never ever been to in my life. It's definitely my home on the internet. Look, TNA Asylum has provided me a platform to put out my columns, to do, now my new project with the fantasy booking of the current Impact roster, to do this show with guys that I, have really grown to be friends with, guys that I came together and, made friends with, bonded with, decided we can do a show together. I joined in the IWC around like 2010, but I really didn't talk or post until, probably 2011, 2012. I had no idea all the hatred towards TNA from a bunch of, fanboys and miserable people stuck in the Monday Night Wars. And some guy I had said, I just put up a message one day because I was tired of all the trolling on TNA, and I said, is there anywhere where there's troll-free TNA talk? The response that I got from someone was TNAasylum.com at that time, now .net. I never knew exactly who it was, and I was always wondering. It turns out that it was my good friend and my tag team partner, Old School Heel, actually recruited me to the site. I've probably been there for about 3 or 4 years now, and it's great. Everyone listening, check out TNAasylum.net. Come join the community, be active. And, I just want to thank Talon for everything he's done. He's provided the best site ever. It's not, it's fair criticism.
I had a similar experience, Raven. I was on another site that I would consider like a dirt sheet type site, and there was literally no moderation. The only moderation were those of us on the site, and people used to get out of hand. And I literally was just going nuts one day. I was just so fed up, and somebody posted TNAsylum.com, and I went there, and I never came back. In fact, that's hasn't had comments posted to it in years, so that they still do dirt sheet things. And everybody came to TN Asylum. The content's fantastic. Most importantly, they give us the news. That's what I personally look forward to, is seeing the news every week, finding out what's going on in TNA. And again, it's positive, but at the same point in time, it's also fair. And it's an open discussion, and people just tend to agree to disagree. And to me, that speaks volumes about the folks that created it. Talon, of course. Let's not forget a big shout out to JSO and all the folks that have contributed over the years, from our own executive producer Wake Chambers to Mortimer Plumtree, and a lot of other folks that we've been listening and reading over the years. Just special thanks to all those folks.
It's kind of weird that you mentioned Talon, TNA dude, because
God,
I mean, this is a man that censors the shit out of us, but I mean, he suspended you earlier this year, and clearly, it's not hard to see that Talons just don't understand. But dude, I'm reading in the 6th year anniversary, because who's not going to celebrate? I mean, I was hanging out by myself and maybe having some non-alcoholic beer, some O'Doul's, and I read this. And this comes directly from Talon. It says, quote, "We are proud of the Big Four, TNA weekly news and discussions, live coverage and analysis, taping results, and our original exclusive columns, especially Nevermore. We have a great staff of talented writers, podcasters, and TNA dude." Untalented is what he's calling you. Now,
see, I didn't read it that way. I read it as, you're either a writer or a podcaster, or you're TNA dude, and you're just freaking Superman. I mean, not only am I talented as a writer, a podcaster, and a commenter, I'm flat out me. I just assumed that Talon was finally, after all these years, acknowledging my greatness.
I think you're taking the pussy's way out, to be honest with you. I think he called you out, and you got nothing to say back to Talon.
Huh? Excuse me? He called me out?
Someone says I'm untalented, which I'm talented at everything.
So you think that's saying that I'm untalented?
I do.
Oh my God, talent just don't understand. Look, let me tell you something. We need to get this guy on the show. Okay? I've been trying to get this guy to come on the show for months. Okay? And he won't do it. He keeps dodging me and saying he's too busy. Well, look, Talon, school's out. It's summertime, buddy. I think you need to show up on this show, and let's do this thing.
Man, fed out, you like school in summertime.
Cage match, buddy. Cage match.
Shots fired back.
Bang!
Awkward.
Look, guys, speaking of shots and shooting, let's not forget to check out Straight Shooting with FK9 this week. FK9, entertaining as always. If you get the opportunity, listen to him and watch him live when he tapes on Saturdays usually. Also, let's not forget, #Revive the X Division. Want to throw a special shout out to our partners, both FK9 and most recently the King of the Mountain podcast, for joining us in this endeavor to try to revive the X Division, as well as the Aiden O'Shea petition. So, Raven, do we have any update on the Aiden O'Shea petition?
Yeah, with the Aiden O'Shea petition, we're trying to get Aiden O'Shea more television time. And So also our friends, as TNA Dude mentioned, our friends here at TNA Radio or King of the Mountain Radio, they're helping us as well, and I do recommend all of our fans take a look at or take a listen to them as well. But so they're on board with Aiden O'Shea too, and this is a thing. So I mentioned last week's show how TNA Canada on Twitter got We Want Aiden trending, and it's kind of been trending for 2 weeks in a row now. I'm plugging this thing to go to change.org so many times, and it's getting retweeted and retweeted and retweeted and retweeted, and it is blowing up over Twitter, to be honest with you. But the thing is, guys, we're not getting a lot of signatures. It's like everyone wants to say it, but no one wants to actually take the 10, literally, this takes 10 seconds of your time. Go to change.org, hit search, type in Aiden O'Shea or TNA Impact Wrestling so you can get on both, okay? If you want to remain anonymous, you can. Sign your name. You don't have to give out information. It's not going to go all the way around, but take the time and do it. And look, here's the thing, guys. Like I've said before, if you don't think Aiden O'Shea has it or whatever, fine, so be it. But prove it, okay? Prove that the guy can't do it. Prove to us that he can't do it, because you know what? I can. If this guy were to take what he does on the internet, because he is the best wrestling act in the entire industry on the internet, if he gets the chance to take what he does on Twitter and put that on TV, I'm telling you, we have, at least as a talking potential, as a vocalist, a star on TNA's hands. Now, what this is you're helping TNA for one. You're trying to help TNA because TNA needs the ratings, especially now coming July 19th. Okay, so there's one thing to look at there. But the second part is, guys, let's find out how much TNA listens to their fans. Is it not going to be awesome if we do something big? We send this petition with all these signatures to all these TNA fans, okay, to show Dixie, to show Gaburik that, hey, not only do we care, we're trying to help you, and this is what we want. Let's see if TNA wants to listen to their fans. Let's see if TNAasylum.net, let's see if TNA HeelCast can do something to actually influence wrestling, to influence TNA to make changes. And the thing is, guys, like, if this works, we've got plenty of other options to do. This doesn't need to stop here. We can take it one step further. We can go for more things, and we can make TNA better.
You guys heard it directly from Raven Effect. Now, listen up, Raven Effect. We got one last plug this week. We do have a new Nevermore column. So what's up with the latest Nevermore column?
Apparently it's hilarious, according to the way TNA Dude says it, but it's my fantasy booking. Look, it's a little bit behind, guys. I'm sorry. Get tied up. Truthfully, I'm kind of building up these past 3 shows that are on there are kind of my way to build up to the next 3 that are going to come up and be awesome. I have some real good ideas that I think are going to portray well. I'm going to do my version of Slammiversary that's going to be out soon, but definitely check it out. I'm creating a new alternative wrestling product that has never been done before. It's a slow build. I'm not going to do it all in one sitting or hit a reset button, but please, I want the feedback. I don't care if it's positive or negative. Help me out. Help me get noticed. Help TNA take it. I'm pretty sure they've already seen some of the stuff I've done because they've made those changes. So just help me out. Give me some feedback. I hope you enjoy it. If you don't, let me know.
So guys, let's talk about feedback and Raven Effect's Nevermore columns. I personally, as a favorite of TNA Dude, would love it if you guys would tweet Raven's Nevermore columns directly to Dave Lagana. I think it would be great if we could get Dave reading it. I think it would be great if Raven Effect could actually get some feedback directly from Dave Lagana. So folks, you're out there listening, tweet it at Dave Lagana, at Raven Effect, Nevermore, hashtag Nevermore, and let's get that feedback from there. Now, Numero, I understand that you've been hitting Twitter up a little bit this week, and you've been looking for the tweet of the week. Did you come up with one this week?
We do, and we have one from Shark Boy. I'm sure he's a fan favorite from everybody here and on the site. And his tweet, which is going to be our pick for best tweet of the week, was: a lot of people are upset about what AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Luke Galloway did to John Cena, but it's past their bedtime now.
Ha!
Which I thought was pretty hilarious.
That was great.
It was hilarious. It cracked me up. I had to do it. Shark Boy is another guy on Twitter that's hilarious, and definite fan favorite. We all love Shark Boy, man who took EC3 to his limits. Now, Numero, we're installing this new segment that we're doing too as well to let our fans know it's not just the sound off, but our featured comment of the week.
Of course, and the comment that we got from our YouTube page this week comes from Lord's Words. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And he says, I'm not sure if anyone noticed about the EC3 versus Miracle feud, but it looks like the latter is doing quite well in out EC and 3 EC3. Just look at it. When EC3 entered TNA, he was that young, cocky, and brash newcomer who went over established stars on his road to become champion. With Bennett, he has done acts that mirror those of EC3, like wrestling, Earl Hebner, which I still say EC3 did it better. But granted that Bennett doesn't have Dixie for an auntie, but he does have Marie as a manager. There's also the fact that Bennett is younger than EC3, which adds the dynamic to the feud.
In addition to doing the tweet of the week, we also have the sound off as well. And the sound off question from last week was, do you want to see either Cody Rhodes or Ryback in TNA in 2016? And I got to tell you something, guys. We got a lot of feedback on this sound off. I was out pushing it on the TNAsylum.net, and here's what folks are saying. Timothy Tate is saying he wouldn't mind Cody Rhodes coming in, but his problem with Ryback is he feels like he's going to demand they put the belt on him, and he just doesn't think that Ryback should have the belt on him before somebody like, say, Eli Drake. 1%er, our faithful listener, says Cody Rhodes is better than Ryback, and he doesn't want Ryback in TNA ever. Our good friend Henry Blackbird says Cody Rhodes, but only if he'll start off in the X Division and then work his way to the main event. And finally, the Count, he followed Henry Blackbird by saying Cody Rhodes, but only if he's never in the X Division and never, ever Ryback. Now, Numero, I know we also had a whole bunch of comments on YouTube. Could you tell us a little bit about what they're saying on YouTube?
Sure. On YouTube, we have, pardon me if I butcher your name, but I think this is the Fupa was nice. He says that Rybrook is another big guy that barely has any dimensions. I'm more down with Cody to make that TNA jump. If he does go, there's lots of possibilities with his hot wife joining him. Nothing against Borash, back from my ring announcer is easy on the eye. We also had Danish Core, who said, I never really liked Ryback. I've only seen clips of him in the WWE. It's pretty terrible, but he is pretty popular. He has a great fan base, so I think he'll be a great grab for TNA, just for that reason alone. Cody is okay, but he's not necessarily a guy that will sell merchandise or bring many eyes to TNA. If we're going to go after anyone, it should be Damian Sandow. I don't think anybody else WWE release will do much for TNA other than Ryback or maybe Barrett.
And that was from Danish Core, who is my fucking homeboy. I love Danish. Danish is the man. He's one of my favorite people to talk to on Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, let's go to the feedback we got from Twitter. We had Kevin Brakely, who said both, and also throw Sandow into the mix as well. TNA Mafia said, #feed me more. Actually, I've spoken to TNA Mafia a little bit about Ryback, and I know that the reason that he wants to see Ryback in TNA is because his 9-year-old son is really all about Ryback himself, but he says he's also a big Sandow fan, and he's the one that he hopes comes into TNA.
Excellent. Now look, guys, we've had a lot of activity ourselves on Twitter this week. I got a couple plugs that I've just got to throw out there. I'm sure you guys do as well. But first of all, I promised Grado that I would give him a plug on the show. So, Grado, buddy, here's your plug. Thanks for being a friend of the HeelCast this week. And there you have it. Another plug that we got was I got a retweet from one of my very favorite wrestlers of all time, Mr. James Storm. A #Storm for Champ. folks, the guy is awesome. He deserves to get that second title run. He deserves a much better title run. I'm sure we'll be talking about that one later. And then I had a fun conversation with the man himself, Brian Hebner, earlier today, where he was taking my name in vain by calling somebody dude, and Hebner responded in kind, apologizing for taking my name that way. So let me ask you a question, Mr. Raven Effect. I know that you've had a pretty busy Twitter week. What you got for us in Twitter land?
What I have is, let me get on the internet and try and find out what was said. I can tell you a couple of things. Mr. Grado talked to me as well, as he didn't really say a whole lot other than turkey leg. I had kind of given out a plug and said we were talking about the match, and he gave me a like and responded to me with a turkey leg. I responded to Mr. Grado, and I told him that I asked him. Actually, first I thanked Grado, and then I asked him a question, and I said, "No hard feelings, right?" Let's see, guys. I've gotten some. We've gotten a retweet plugging the show. We've gotten one from. Well, I don't want to call him our friend, but Crazy Steve, the man who tortured us to death. He gave us a retweet, so we do want to thank them for retweeting our show, giving us a plug, and everything along those lines. It means a lot. And of course, I've encountered Mr. Matt Hardy. I got it from Tim White. I don't know if that's the old WWE ref or not, but Rebel gave me a like when I tried to, kind of make it sound like I was hitting on her. She gave a retweet, and I said, "Hey, Rebel, I think you're hotter than her too." That means Raquel. And want more Rebel on Impact as well. And then I said, "Plus, I got a podcast too at TNA HeelCast." Didn't even get a retweet, Toots, but I'll take the like. Of course, I talked to my man, Aiden O'Shea. I'm plugging Aiden a lot. I'm trying to help him out a lot here. He definitely supports us. He gives a lot of retweets for the show. He gives a lot of retweets for his petition. Dude is killing it on TNA, everyone, or on social media at least, trying to get himself on TNA.
We did have some news this week. Now, look, guys, one of, if not the biggest free agent in wrestling today, Cody Rhodes, he put out a list of names that he wants to wrestle. He mentioned names like Adam Cole, Kurt Angle, Dalton Castle, Chris Hero. He did mention Mike Bennett, Moose, Trevor Lee, the Young Bucks, Roderick Strong, and some others. He also said something about his own personal ring announcer and that streamer things. So, Numera, I'm going to ask you, first of all, what do you think about Cody Rhodes?
I'm a fan of Cody. Even I feel like he's been doing really well in everything that's been thrown at him. He's talented. I think he still is pretty young. I know that he's mentioned that he's going to retire when he's 30. I don't know off the top of my head how old he is right now, but if he is going to retire at an early age, then I definitely would like to see him at least come on board to TNA while he still is active in the ring. But just looking at this list and what he's put out and sort of these demands, I just think that he's gonna sort of stick with ROH or New Japan at the moment, which is kind of disappointing because I feel like I think he is a star and he would sort of bring new eyes to TNA. But we'll see what time tells us.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't watch WWE. So for me to say that I want Cody Rhodes in TNA, or for me to say I don't want Cody Rhodes in TNA, I don't watch his show, so I don't really know anything about him other than the fact that he's related to good old Dusty. But here's the thing, right? There is somebody here that might have a better opinion than I do. You see, folks, it's not necessarily very well known, but right here on this show tonight, we have a very special listener. That's right. We have Griggers12 listening in. So, Griggers, unhit the mute button, buddy. We want to hear you, and we want to hear you talk about Cody Rhodes.
Oh, thanks for giving me a shout out there. Cody Rhodes is a great wrestler. I mean, I think he'd be a great addition to TNA, but I mean, I personally don't think he has the star power to bring the viewership up. I think it's just going to take time. It's going to take good shows to get those viewers, reoccurring over and over. TNA's on the path right now. They're going to take a little spike when SmackDown goes live, but as long as they keep doing their thing, I think they're okay. I mean, personally, if they're going to move to a night, I think the night they should move to is back to Friday, where they had their their greatest viewership.
Awesome insight, Griggs. Man, thanks for joining, buddy.
Anytime, man.
All right, awesome. So Raven Effect. I understand you have an opinion on this topic, buddy.
What? Me? No. Well, this, I guess maybe this can count as Raven's rant, but really I'm not ranting, guys. What I have to say is in regards to Cody Rhodes. Now I'm going to start by saying this, is I think that I was thinking about this over the weekend, but I mean, really, as far as star power, there's none out there really. So I think really Cody Rhodes, Sandow, and Wade Barrett is really the best shot at any legitimate star power that TNA is going to be able to get for who knows however long. But before this list came out, I was thinking, like, if there's really something that could be special here with this, if they were to get the group of those three, and the things that came to mind, and which I think needs to be duplicated, is that if you remember when Steve Austin first came into ECW, the shoots that he was doing, knocking Eric Bischoff, knocking WCW, I think if you could get those three in, and their introduction is to go out and take shots and mock the way that they were treated in WWE, stuff like that, it's going to get people tuning in. It's going to expose some stuff. It's going to make TNA look better and more promising, and it'll give those guys a real chance. But the other thing that came to mind was both the NWO when they came on the scene and the Radicals. Now, I'm not saying that this is a takeover, that any of these three guys, or Hogan, Hall, Nash, whatever, no, they're not that star power, and truthfully, overall, they're not as good. Better wrestlers, not as good. But to book them so strong, like this radical group that just comes in and just causes chaos and wreaks some hell, and if it's portrayed right, I mean, it can just really turn the tide for TNA. But so then he puts out this list, and first thing is, TNA, get your investor, go fucking sign Roderick Strong and Moose, because shit, you can get them, and who doesn't want them? That'll help lure Cody. But okay, if he wants to go for the money, New Japan is probably where it's at. He can be a star there. He really can be a star. He might be a star to the very small IWC only fan base that comes along in ROH, and I'm an ROH fan, but I'm just being honest. And do you really want to move to Japan? Do you want to live that far away from the US where is home? You can go to ROH, but the fact is ROH is never going to change their approach. They'll never, ever make a star. Like Jay Lethal and Adam Cole aren't stars. And really, with ROH and New Japan, he's not going to be able to show the WWE up and say, okay, we made a mistake. Cody Rhodes is gold. This is why TNA is literally the only place he should go, okay? TNA is the only one that's all over the world. TNA they're not just the US, they've got the UK, they've got other countries, they've got India, and those three, if the three of them came in together, I legitimately think if they do it right, which TNA can, it's going to literally be a game changer.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm going to add here is that whoever TNA brings in, I really think they need to make sure that the person fits what they want to do and is a character that meshes well with the rest of the roster. They got a lot of, smarky types. They got EC3. They have Eli, Drake. And now we see them bring in folks like Braxton Sutter, which are kind of the opposite of that, to kind of give them faces. So whoever they bring in or don't bring in, again, I don't know these guys because I don't watch the other show. I think that they should keep that in mind. The nice thing about Cody Rhodes is he does bring in a name. Now, Dixie did announce some good news this week. Not only did they get their best rating on Pop TV last Tuesday, they also got their biggest +3 numbers as well. So that's some more good news for TNA. We do know that there are rumors going around about SmackDown, and SmackDown's going to be challenging, TNA on Tuesday nights. And of course, people start talking about AJ Styles going to go to SmackDown to compete against TNA, and Velvet Sky could wind up being on SmackDown again, challenging TNA fans even further. The bottom line, folks, here is that we need to continue to support our product. We have Slammiversary coming up on pay-per-view. I encourage and urge everybody to purchase this pay-per-view, support the company, support them for building to such a great pay-per-view. I mean, let's face it, this is the best build that we've had to a card in a really, really long time. And hopefully, if we give them that support, it'll inspire them to do even more pay-per-views more regularly, and basically just continue to do what they've been doing for the past couple of months. And let's face it, as TNA fans, we would love to show some unity as WWE starts to, come to town in July. Now, definitely had a lot of news this week, but guys, we had a new show, and the big news, let's face it, it came from the show itself. All hail the new king, the King of the Mountain champion. Hit it for me, Raven Effect.
All hail the new king, Eli Drake.
E dot 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 lie dot 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 Drake.
That's right. Eli Drake is our new King of the Mountain champion. And, frankly, guys, this is something that we have been looking forward to. We knew he was going to be the King of the Mountain champion for at least the last couple of months. So, Numero, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on Eli Drake finally getting this title run that we've been expecting?
I was sort of surprised of how it played out. Again, I guess, I always mention this. I never really read into the spoilers. But, when he did finally run out, I could sort of piece everything together. I'm a fan of Eli, and I'm glad that the attention is getting back to the King of the Mountain title. I will say that I thought he was such a jerk during his celebratory little, I don't even know what you call it, celebration backstage with the random TNA staff, smacking champagne glasses, asking for his own room. He's just playing off that cocky kind of heel. You just love to hate him. So, I think this is a nice start for a new King of the Mountain heel champion, while we're also seeing this transition for Bram as a face. And, I'm pretty sure we can guess that there's going to be some kind of rematch to Slammiversary. So I'm glad to see that there's some effort and some kind of build to one of these only live pay-per-view events that we're getting.
Yeah, I'm excited as hell for Eli Drake. Eli Drake is a superstar in the making. He's a guy that can really take it to the next level. I'm so happy he's a champion. However, look, I'm also very disappointed that Bram is no longer the champion, because Bram's another superstar in the making. The celebration that Numero mentioned was awesome. I was cracking up. It was hysterical. Just heel work is just like, you see the guy's the dickhead that they portray. Like, no one really likes Eli Drake. He's just, man, that segment was so damn good. And it's like, literally, it's like he rubs everyone the wrong way is what they're portraying. But, the only thing I'm disappointed in is so it was awesome to see Bram get a title too, because he's awesome. I think he's a future star. I've been a fan of Bram since day one. But he had one defense in the King of the Mountain, really nothing going there. He loses the belt. I have to assume that's the rematch at Slammiversary. So, I mean, we could potentially see Bram win it back, and then Eli's title reign is kind of yanked out from under him. But, I mean, honestly, Bram versus Eli Drake feud, sign me up for that twice. I wouldn't mind seeing both guys like hot potato the belt back and forth between each other. These are two guys that I'm so sold on this feud. I'm so excited to see what goes from here. I'm so happy Eli is the champion. Eli Drake, the new King of the Mountain champion. And that's just a fact of life.
I'm be honest with you guys. I was disappointed. I wanted Eli Drake to win the championship too. There's no doubt about it. I think the guy has an amazing character. I think he's got charisma. I think he's an awesome talker. And his celebration was outstanding. A couple of things about this, though, just struck me, and it just kind of almost to a point made me a little bit disinterested. First of all, his music is potentially some of the worst music that I've ever seen in my life. So they're trying to, to get people behind the guy. His music is absolutely horrible. I think his finisher is just terrible. And I'm kind of like, is that it? Is that the end of it? So that really does nothing for me either. And my concern on Eli Drake is that he's almost a bit of a one-trick pony at times. And I really want to see him do a little bit more. I don't want to see him be different. I still want to see him be smarky. I still want to see him be a complete jerk, because that's why we tune in. But that's kind of all you're seeing in between this kind of match. It just really didn't go over well, even with the fans in the Impact Zone. And say what you will about the Impact Zone, but they've been on fire for some of this stuff now, these past couple tapings. it didn't go over well. And quite frankly, between that and the, dummy yeah thing, I'd really just like to see them hone his character a little bit. That having been said, we've all said the guy's a future champion. We all see the sun shining brightly down on Eli Drake. Let's just hope that they can look at these things that I'm finding and get them kind of, cleaned up and get better. As far as, Eli Drake versus Bram, I think that this could be a great feud as well. I'm not surprised that they didn't leave the belt on Bram for a longer period. If something happened in Bram's personal life, they could say, well, he's already dropped the belt. But I am glad that they gave him a belt. I think he looked fantastic as a champion. I think that he's another future star. And yeah, it's definitely exciting to see these two guys go together. Now, if you want to talk about something else that's exciting, let's talk about Dixie appointing EC3. So the show starts and Dixie's saying that, I got to put somebody in charge. EC3 wants to be in charge. And the next thing you know, out comes EC3 and he takes over the show. So Numero, tell me, what do you think about EC3 being in charge?
I am loving EC3 and everything he does. I think he definitely played this role really well. I was a bit surprised that they sort of threw EC3 as being the one who was in charge. Not necessarily because he wouldn't do well in the role, but don't we have a leader in Billy Corgan? Where the hell was he? Was he like at another concert or something? But, getting bypass those little tweaks. I was really excited to see what kind of role EC3 was going to play, because we know he's in the middle of a feud with Mike Bennett, so he was going to sort of try to abuse his power. But also Mike's connection with Maria is what really had me interested, just because this was sort of a chance for EC3 to give Maria, a taste of her own medicine when it comes to abusing authority power. But overall, I think it really showed how well you can give EC3 something that he could just make it into gold. And I wouldn't mind seeing EC3 be in charge of Impact, every now and then.
I loved it. I'm going to be honest with you, Numero. I absolutely loved it. The more EC3, the merrier. When we did the poll to say, who do you think that, the wrestler of the year is? And a lot of people say an EC3. And I don't necessarily agree with that statement just because I don't like the way that he's booked. But if they put him in this role, sitting at ringside, being his jerky self, especially as a face, and just acting the way that he acts, I really think that's gonna mean ratings. I don't want to see him do it every week. I just want to see him do it, every month, every 6 weeks. But
yeah, and I guess it sort of shows the kind of perks that comes with being Aunt Dee's nephew. You never cross a Carter. Remember, that's what Dixie said when she broke her back, that summer so many years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Now, here's the neat thing, right? EC3, he makes this rematch against Mike Bennett at Slammiversary. Right? And then remember, he made Mike Bennett do some of the craziest stuff that you're going to see. Tell us a little bit about what he made Mike Bennett do, and I'm really interested in your perspective on some of this. All right?
I'm sure you are, but EC3 said, he's got to do blue collar work, and one of them was having to unfortunately clean toilets on Taco Tuesday of all days. And I love Taco Tuesdays, but just when it's lunchtime, not when it comes to, 3 hours later.
Oh, dude, burrito night, bro. Jesus Christ. Oh, holy shit. Oh.
And unfortunately, I don't think Mike was able to switch from his, golden shoes to some kind of nurse shoes. So I hope he didn't,
And there it is. There it is. I knew the golden shoes was coming.
Listen, I'm not sure how much those gold shoes were. I definitely want a pair myself, but they just aren't suited for that kind of, work.
This has been a special report from Fashion 47.
But that's just kind of plays off in dispute. And it just adds a lot of element to it. And I'm just was really loving that segment, especially poor Earl Hebner being there around the corner too.
Now, look, here's the thing, Numero. I'm going to take our Twitter director, Mr. Raven Effect, and I'm going to take him to task on this. Raven Effect, your job this week, your only goal for the HeelCast, is to find out how much Mike Bennett paid for those shoes and where we can get numero 47 a pair just like them.
You're giving me a real easy task to work with there, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. Mike Bennett loves social media, buddy.
I'll see what I can do. I will see what I can do. Maybe I'll get it first take. It's how I roll. But one thing I do want to say, guys, is that we saw Madison Rain years ago was kind of into him, but if Earl Hebner isn't a sex symbol already, after last night, he surely is after taking that shit from Mike Bennett to clean up.
You know, Raven Effect, I got a question for you. Maria Bennett, right? And maybe this is our sound off question for this week. Do we like her better with straight hair or with curls?
I think last night she was literally so hot that I couldn't really focus. I think the best that I liked her was in Playboy. Whatever her hair was, yeah, I don't even know what her hair was like in that, but
At least she had any. Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind.
I couldn't tell if the curtains matched the drapes, but yeah, I really last night she was just like so fucking breathtaking. It was just like, good God.
I like her better with the curls, but Numero.
I like her better with a guy with a better haircut.
What do you think, Numero?
No, I like her with the straight hair, but I think she also just sort of complements everything with what she wears too. I think it's just a matter of how she wears the hair with what she's wearing as well.
Well, I'm just going to throw it out there, Maria. If you're listening and you're interested, you know what? Curl it up for me, babe. Curl it up for me. So, EC3 essentially sets up this match with Gail Kim, right, at Slammiversary. This is one that I know most of us have been looking forward to for a really, really, really long time. Numero, I know that the knockouts are your thing. Are you looking forward to this match, or are you a little concerned about, Maria's in-ring ability?
Well, I'm not going to lie and say that Maria is, lacking any kind of ring activity. It's definitely a concern, but I will say that this is definitely one of the matches that I'm looking more forward to for Slammiversary. Not necessarily because it's a knockouts match, just because there's been a build-up to it. There's investment, These two have been feuding since February when Maria first came to TNA. And I've sort of noticed that Slammiversary tends to be the pay-per-view that actually has some build-up, especially when it comes to the knockouts. We've seen it with, Gail was feuding with Tara, and Gail was feuding with Brooke, and now we're seeing it with Maria again. So I do have some concerns, but just based on, that little short list of build-ups for Bound for Glory when it comes to the knockouts, I think Gail can sort of carry this match again. And, maybe they'll add a stipulation to hide some weaknesses. But again, a big thumbs up for me in excitement.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I think it's going to be just different, and I think that it'll be one of those moments where people have been waiting for it, and so you're finally going to get it. And I think that any way that Gail Kim gets her hands on Maria, I think that people are going to leave that show thinking, you know what, I got my money's worth. And to me, it's not really even going to be about how good of a match that it is. Raven, do you agree with that, or are you looking for a 5-star match and that's just the way it's going to be for you?
First of all, on the HeelCast, we're not those fucking nerds that give you 1.5, 2.5, 3, 4, 4.5, 5 stars. That's not us, son. So no. This is what I want to say is this is the best built to match I have seen done in years, and this is absolutely what I've been screaming, pleading, begging for TNA in, God, I don't know, its existence. It is 6 months. They've hardly touched each other. It's been building for, not necessarily 6 months, but it's been pretty damn close to January through June. They've been building up to Gail Kim, Maria. This is the best built to, for the very first time, very first match feud I can remember in a very long time. The problem is that the match is very, very, very likely not going to be good at all. I love Maria to death. I think she is amazing. I think she has been almost as good at the acquisition as Mike Bennett has been. Her, Rosemary, and Bennett are just, I mean, they've added so much to TNA in 2016, but she's not a wrestler. I mean, thankfully, she's in there with Gail Kim, who can pretty much carry anyone to like a decent match. I hope that this is literally just. I think there could be a lot of matches on the card at Slammiversary, and TNA's really been lacking some really good matches or some good matches or shit. Like, so I'm worried that they're not going to get enough time to really have great matches put on Slammiversary because they're in desperate need of it. So I hope that this is just a short match, but the build to this has just been incredibly well done, and I wish they would do this with a lot more matches. But yeah, I'm just not looking forward to the actual match itself.
You definitely have the build to the match, and you definitely have the fact that Maria Kanellis is finally going to have to deal with Gail Kim, and for me, that just makes it right there. Now, after this, we did get another match, and we had the Galloway makes Lashley face Bram, right? And we talked a little bit about Eli Drake cashing in, but the match before it with Bram and Lashley, I'd like to get your opinion on this, Numero, because I kind of felt like, Bram didn't look so bad in this match, but reading some of the comments, people are saying that they think that he may have been buried in the match by Lashley. What did you think? I didn't think he looked that bad at all.
No, I didn't think he looked that bad either. But I went into both of these these pick your poison matches, figuring that they were whoever was going to be on the other side of it was going to end up losing. But I don't think he looked terrible. I think it sort of was a hint of how he can sort of go toe to toe with one of the main eventers. But I like the match for what it was. Kind of disappointed of how it ended, but I guess it's better than an actual loss.
I haven't heard these comments about it making Bram look terrible or whatnot, but okay, seriously, internet wrestling nerds overanalyzing and being too internet wrestling nerds. Just give me a break, man. No, stupid. Just stop. Enjoy the fucking show for once. No, it didn't make Bram look weak or anything. Look, you're taking the guy who is going to go challenge for the world title, who is possibly going to wrestle or going to actually legitimately fight for real for a heavyweight championship in the second biggest MMA company in the entire world, and you're making him look unbeatable as you go in to face your champion in an MMA style of match. Bram is awesome. Bram didn't lose anything except for the belt, and he's gonna get the people are gonna be behind him because of the way that Eli Drake went about it. That match is gonna kick ass. And Lashley looked like an unbeatable badass. Bram fucking won by disqualification, for crying out loud, guys. Lashley couldn't put him away. Stop complaining. Stop looking for shit to find flaws in and just enjoy the show. No, here's my gripe is that Bram against Bobby Lashley that's a pay-per-view match. Like that's a feud that I want to see really bad, and it's something I've actually wanted to see for years. Or not years, but for a year or two now. But they're fucking it's the second time now they've just thrown it together randomly on television to do, like, build up to it. Don't let the two guys touch each other for a while and then have a big blow off match, because that's a good fucking feud, man. So no, Bram is still badass. Lashley is still badass, and no, just stop complaining, man.
I think you bring up some good points too. When you look at a guy like Lashley is so big, so dominating, so imposing of an individual and a figure that it's really going to take another really big fella like Bram to come in and actually give him a strong feud. People are talking right now about AJ Styles, right, and what he's doing over in WWE. Could you imagine what it would look like if AJ Styles were in a feud with Bobby Lashley? I mean, come on, man, give me a damn break. Bram actually seems much more legitimate, and quite frankly, he could use the rub. Now, talking about rubbing, okay, in the next segment, okay, we get the bromance with Raquel. And, guys, I'm not really sure where this thing is heading, right? I will say that I wish Raquel would lose the bright purple hair, but this matchup between her and the bromance, this really does seem like something that could work. Raven, you and I have been saying for a long time that we wanted them to have the females work with the males, and now we just see more and more of this going on. So I know that the bromans, they get a little bit cheesy at times, but what do you think about them and Raquel? Do you think maybe she'll give them the edge that they need?
Absolutely not. No, not at all. I'm not. And of course, like I'll go all internet wrestling community on and say, hey, I finally got what I wanted. Now I'm gonna fucking turn heel on it and hate it myself. No, I'm still happy about the girls being paired up with the men. Truthfully, what the direction they were going with Raquel kind of being like this seductress with Lashley and all that, I liked a lot more. It's just really that this girl needs to take Jesse Goddard, who's got the body of a Greek god, and teach him how to work out and be a fitness guru. Robbie E is in great shape. He's been on The Amazing Race, all that. No, it's not viable. Trust those dudes know how to work out just fine. They don't need a fitness guru. It's bad stuff. I'll give it. Like, her acting was better this time around. The segments themselves were like the worst of the worst, terrible 80s cheesiness, and terrible 80s cheesiness is hard to top. But that's how bad it was. Yeah,
Are you trying to tell me that this was the worst segment on the show?
No.
Okay,
no.
I just wanted to check that one, buddy.
No, we'll get there.
But we haven't gotten there yet.
We're saving the best for last, motherfuckers. The Decay is literally should just destroy these guys. This shouldn't come as a pair together. And I've said the bromans are so much better as faces than they were as heels, but now they're starting to look just as bad as they were then. And it sucks because I think Jesse Goddard is the most improved wrestler I've seen in years. I'm a fan of Jesse Goddard a lot now. I'm a fan of Robbie E. I just don't like the gimmick that he does. Both of these guys are really good, and I'm a fan of these guys individually. I cannot stand them together, and I think if they're legitimately supposed to take Raquel, who can't wrestle for shit, and if you were to take her against Rosemary would just destroy this bitch. And now, no, these guys should not stand a chance against the Decay. And truthfully, the tag team title match that we're gonna see, it should be a multi-team match. Take 4 or 5 teams and just have the Decay run all over them.
Yeah, I really can't get behind Raquel being with the bromance. Again, I think it just sort of shows that they want to give Raquel something to do, but I just don't know what she can provide for the bromance. I know they're saying that she's going to lead them to this sort of tag team, reign again, but these segments just prove that she's not really bringing a lot to the table, Even during their match, she was just sort of this eye candy kind of figure. And again, I just don't know. I can't make too much of it, even after a week. The only thing that even has me invested and excited for this, Slammiversary feud is the fact that Raquel is going to have to be in the corner with the bromance across Rosemary. And we know Rosemary isn't afraid of anybody, man or woman. And, sort of, echoing what Raven was saying, Rosemary would just destroy Raquel. So that's the only, I guess, quote unquote, good thing about this feud. But I do sort of feel bad for Jesse, just because I really thought he was branching out as when he initially broke up from Robbie as this, sort of heel and this kind of character. And even when he was with Eli Drake, but, that's a thing of the past now. And we just got to focus, as Raquel puts it.
Let me tell you guys one thing. If my sis spits the green mist in Raquel's face, my money was well spent. All right. That's what I'm looking for in this match. I am looking to see that interaction because, first of all, we all know that Raquel's not going to be able to hang with Rosemary. But nonetheless, just to see the interaction of the two of them and see how Raquel actually does, we've all seen the bromance before. We know what they're about. We know what the decay is about. We all know the decay is going over in this match. Look, I know we're going to get to predictions at some point during this show, but this is one that's pretty easy. The decay is going over in this match. So to me, this is all just about them building to be able to give the Burman somebody, or the decay somebody to actually wrestle on the show. The one thing I do want to say about this is that this is the match where Mike Bennett was the ref, and I just absolutely loved how Bennett did not want the heels to lose, regardless of how much Spud was tapping out. I mean, Jesse could have broken Spud in half, and Bennett was content to not accept the tap out. And I just thought that was absolutely, great work on Mike Bennett's part. It just added something to this match and really, gave it something to get exciting about. So, moving on to the next one. We did have a tag team match that was in the Knockouts division, and it was Allie and Sienna versus Gail and Jade. Now, I thought it was really great. I thought that Allie's wrestling was actually awesome, because her whole character is she's not ready to wrestle. So she gets in the ring and, she kind of acts like she doesn't know what she's doing, and then she kind of jumps out. I just thought that she was just outstanding in the role. I'm not going to say that she was putting on a 5-star match, but the depth of her character and her understanding of her character, to me, were just outstanding. The one thing that struck me about this match, and it's actually sad, Numero, but when Gail said that she had a partner and the music hit and Jade came out, it was like it had been so long since we'd seen Jade doing anything that I kind of felt like she was the forgotten member of the Knockouts division. And I didn't really care for that.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that, TNA's sort of been focusing on building up Maria versus Gail. It just feels like Jade was sort of an afterthought. And even when she won the title, again, it was all about Maria and Gail, because Maria costed Gail the title. So it is disappointed in that aspect. But it was at least a relief to see her again, because I'd rather have seen her in this tag match, sort of get involved with the other women than go for another week without her. I wasn't really a fan of, I guess, TNA pretending that Allie doesn't know how to wrestle just because we've seen her wrestle in TNA, as Lauren Dennis / Cherry Bomb. But I understand for the purposes that this is just to build a character. So that's sort of the reason why I can excuse it. And, it's also because of Allie, saying she's the apprentice of Maria. And we know Maria is into wrestling. So it just sort of ties that together. But I do hope that we do see some more development for Jade, because she is the champion, and we got to have a Knockouts title match for Slammiversary. So we'll see how that sort of plays out in the weeks leading up to the event.
Yeah, I will just add this one bit that I really did enjoy this match. Gail Kim, you're absolutely amazing. You just don't age. You just get better with time. You're like fine wine. And Jade's awesome herself. I mean, she's like gonna be Gail Kim 2.0. I mean, nobody's at Gail's level, but Jade's about as close as it gets. I like I said, I love the acting of Allie. And, Sienna, for some reason, she's just not doing it for me, but let's give her time, because I like the role that they're putting her in. But I'll tell you what role that we did get put in this week, and it was a big match for my man, James Storm. We finally get a James Storm sighting, and Raven, in fact, you've been on this with me, but I tweeted it afterwards. James Storm for champ. Storm just gets it done. I mean, what more can you say? Why isn't TNA getting behind this guy, buddy?
I really don't know. I'm at a loss for words, to be honest with you. And if they just use him like, hey, let's stick James Storm with random tag team partner, have him be a tag team champion. If they don't have something big planned for him, if they don't have something big planned for him and he's not like at least top of the card guy, I'm gonna be disgusted, to be honest with you. If he doesn't ever get that world title reign that he legitimately deserves, if they don't have anything good for this guy, it's just despicable in my opinion. And honestly, if everyone on the roster, as much as I want EC3 to be champ again, or Jeff Hardy, or like a Davey Richards to take that step, like I want James Storm to be the next world champion more than anyone else. I think James Storm versus Mike Bennett has huge blockbuster pay-per-view match for TNA written all over it, but they just threw it together. But I mean, I guess there wasn't a whole lot to it, so maybe it could happen in the future. But hashtag James Storm for champ, man.
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, this is something that they've got to get behind, and they've got to, they got to do something with James Storm. Bobby Roode's gone, but James Storm is still sporting the Boozer Cruiser gift from him. I really love the fact that Storm got a rub at the end of this match, and I'm hoping that means bigger and better things for you. So again, James Storm, thank you very much for the retreat. Hashtag Storm for champ. Now, look, folks, talking about something that people, seem to be getting behind, at least at TNA. We get Al Snow at ringside, right? And we've got the Tribunal. And he introduces the Tribunal. And the next thing you know, there's an interruption with Shera and Grado. And they come out. And for some reason, Grado is trying to claim that his fanny pack is a weapon. Now, look, guys, we had a guest appearance from Griggers 12 a few minutes ago. Griggers, let me get your input. What do you think of Grado? Hashtag fanny pack as a weapon?
I mean, what can you say about the fanny pack? I mean, I guess he could be stuffed with something in there. He could put some more of those turkey legs in there and use it as a weapon. I mean, if he carries it around like a title, he pretty much uses it like he's the Rock there. He makes it his thing. I mean, it's a gimmick. I mean, he does well with it. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to lose it.
I also think it's a fashion crime too, but that's just my 2 cents on it.
Oh, and I so thought that you were going with the shoes this week. I thought you were going to double up and do the shoes twice. But instead, we have my buddy numero 47 talking about the fanny pack.
When was the last time that was even cool? I don't think I was even a thought when they were cool. I was way before my time. So why even try to bring it back?
Maybe he'll bring snap bracelets back too.
I personally prefer to think of it as a merce, but that's just me. The straps around his waist.
Hey, merces are cool though, I think.
What did I just listen to?
Look, guys. We just got done talking about something that was terribly uncool, whether it be a merce or a fanny pack. Let's talk about something that is very cool, and that is finally, guys, we get the Decay back on TV. We must just have this effect on folks. You interview with us here on the HeelCast, they take you off television. I don't even care what happens at this point when I'm watching the show. I got the Decay back on my TV set. And, I know that people are upset that the Decay didn't go over against Drew Galloway, but I didn't expect them to go over Raven. I expected Drew Galloway was going to get the rub here, and I like the way that they did it, where Galloway kind of used Lashley to spear Abyss, and then he finished off Steve for the win. What are you thinking about that one?
I think this was an extremely fun and extremely good, entertaining Impact, and then it got ruined with the Al Snow segment with Grado and Shera, and the show went downhill from here. The Decay got literally no, the way that Bobby Lashley introduced him had no emphasis or excitement to it. It was very monotone and lackluster. I get what they did. Okay, I get that. Okay, they didn't lose 2 or 3 on 1 because Lashley came in and hit the spear and whatnot. Dude, Drew Galloway fucking murdered Crazy Steve. They made Crazy Steve look like a fucking bum and a half. The dude got no offense in, and it was he hits a spear on Abyss, which that spear puts Abyss, who's taken God knows what into thumbtacks and 25 tables and whatnot and barbed wire, but one spear puts this man down for a solid 4 or 5 minutes straight to where he can't move. It was bad. There's no good outcome unless it's just a no contest, which I would have much rather seen happen. The fact of the matter is the DK is one of the hottest acts in not only TNA, but in wrestling period. And TNA, in typical TNA fashion, has just pulled a lot of steam right out of their big thing. They're not advertising these guys. There's not marketing. There's not merchandise for them. They take them off TV for 2 weeks. You don't get a segment or anything. They have no tag teams to wrestle. Hashtag Killer Elite Squad. And then they leave them off, and then they come back and they lose 2-on-1 to Drew Galloway, and then they got to wrestle the Bromans. There's no good outcome to come of that because you can't have your champ pin, but you're going to make your tag team champs, who are this dominant force, lose 2-on-1. I'm sorry to a guy who never did shit in the WWE, as much as I don't like to bring that up because Galloway surpassed that image, but give me a break. It was just dumb, and they could have done a lot of things differently.
Yeah, well, I guess this sort of touches base on what we were talking about earlier when Lashley had to face Bram. Whoever's on the other side of whoever the World Heavyweight Champion is going to lose. And unfortunately, it came at the cost with the Decay. I thought that match was, it was, I guess, it did what it was supposed to do. It made Drew Galloway look strong. I am disappointed that this is how the Decay returned, just because we know that they don't have to necessarily wrestle in a match to look too good, because we've seen them, they can carry all these backstage segments, and it's been too long since we've seen the Decay. So I hope that based on our new number one contender, that we'll have some kind of big payoff into the Slammiversary match. But I will, again, just give my props to Rosemary for being that fearless manager that she is, taking some kind of fight to Drew, even when the odds were always against her.
I'm not buying the Decay getting buried thing here. Raven, I'm going to have to take you to task on this one. First of all, my question is going to be back at you. Who in the heck are they going to wrestle? There is no tag team division right now. It's decimated, right? Half of both of the tag teams that they had that they could have otherwise been wrestling, they went to WWE, and the other half of the third tag team, he freaking tore his ACL, and he's out for a while. There really isn't much for these guys to do. They left him off TV for a couple of weeks to make some room for, some other storylines, which we did enjoy. When they brought him back, they put him in the main freaking event against the World Heavyweight Champion. I don't think, if I'm Crazy Steve, that I'm going, oh man, I'm a nobody because I lost against the heavyweight champion. I'm thinking that I'm excited I'm in the main event, and that I'm over, and that's why I'm in the main event. So to me, Crazy Steve never gets a main event push ever before the Decay. The fact that they're in the main event, the fact that they're doing their things in that particular time slot, it just shows to me that TNA is committed to them, and TNA does think a lot of them. So, that's my personal take on this. Now, one thing I will say is that they introduced Braxton Sutter this week, and the way they did it, I'm not really sure how much they think of him. I'm not convinced this is anything more than a generic babyface, and he's kind of got that facial hair of a heel anyway. I mean, where does he go from here? Is he just going to be this kind of underdog character? I mean, how do they work him into a storyline?
One thing I can say is I did not say that the Decay was buried. I just said it took a lot of steam away. So just to clarify for our listeners, Mr. Dude, I don't know what the hell they're going to do with Braxton Sutter, a.k.a. Pepper Parks. I'll be honest with you, this, I guess, generic babyface, just like generic heel logic that's been talked about, it was just boring to me, I guess, man. Like, there was nothing, like, about the guy, and I don't know where they're going. And, I mean, you talk about the Decay not having anyone to wrestle. I mean, okay, why don't we take Braxton Sutter and put him in as like a surprise partner for James Storm, so James Storm can get his revenge on them? Or even better, how about his partner, his real tag team partner from the Indies in CZW, in Rashad Cameron, Black G's, who has been on TNA multiple times, who TNA has no fucking tag teams right now, no credible baby faces other than the Wolves, who can't wrestle the Decay. Why not grab those guys? Why not take both of those guys in at once and bring them in? Because I'll tell you, I would much rather see them against the Decay than kind of like a slap happy bromance, or God forbid, Mahabali Shera and Grado. I mean,
Hashtag Truffle Shuffle.
I don't know what they're gonna do with Braxton Sutter, Pepper Parks, but I think this vignette literally did the guy no favors other than, you know, like the terrible Chris Melendez thing, like, hey, I was in the military. It's like, hey, I've worked really hard to be a pro wrestler. Now I'm 35 and getting my first shot.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. It's kind of like, really, you know. But yeah, I look at it this way. Let's see where they take it. Let's see what happens with it. I mean, they definitely need to get some faces in there. But you know, hey, whatever. The one thing I will say is that I like the fact that they're, you know, debuting him with vignettes and starting to kind of work him into a rotation prior to the pay-per-view so they can get him off on a good start, you know, after Slammiversary. Now, you know, we got to the end of the show, kind of, sort of, but there's a big part of the show, guys, that we haven't talked about, and I'm not really sure anybody other than FK9 wants to hear us talk about it, but you know, there were a lot of vignettes, and in every single vignette, it seemed like Jeff Hardy was riding on his motorcycle to Matt Hardy's house, and I don't know. It was a total freaking train wreck. You know, Raven, in fact, I don't even know where to begin other than to say that this is some of the worst stuff that I've seen on wrestling program. I don't know, maybe like ever.
Yeah, it was terrible. Look, this Willow thing has just been terrible. It has been so terrible. Like Bride of Frankenstein, Cruella DeVille, Sweeney Todd, Matt Hardy here. It's like a bad episode of MTV Cribs where like some random creep shows up to be like, hey, come and tour my mansion. I'll give him props for a nice mansion, house, hot wife, of course, but
You know what, Raven, effect?
I didn't know he played the piano.
I'm gonna call you to task on this one, because when I look at it, I look at this beautiful, nice. I mean, that's not knocking the guy's house. It's gorgeous, right? But the lawn was so well manicured for the freak, right? Who has become a recluse. Shouldn't it have been weeds? Shouldn't the grass have been long? As opposed to everything being manicured perfectly and the house is neat. Shouldn't stuff have been thrown everywhere because the guy is a complete freaking Fruit Loop? Instead,
haven't you seen Edward Scissorhands?
Instead, no, Raven. Everything is absolutely perfect. Right to the inside where he had the barn and the ring, man. There wasn't a freaking piece of dust on that floor in that barn, man. The guy keeps the place freaking meticulous, but you look at him and his hair is all over the place, and I'm lost now, brother Nero. It's like, come on, man. Do you want to do this damn thing right. And for God's sakes, I don't know what y'all were thinking, but I'm watching Jeff Hardy riding that motorcycle, and I'm going, some bitch is going to kill himself. I mean,
just break his other leg.
Exactly. Last time we saw Jeff Hardy on a damn motorcycle, Raven, it did not end well. I'm thinking, please get there. Then he's riding down the road on the motorcycle, but then he's going around the pond, and you kind of get the impression, maybe the pond connects the two properties. And I'm just going, oh, good God. Oh, good God. And then just when I didn't think anything worse could happen, they go to the ring. Oh, it happens. They go to the ring. And this is after Matt Hardy's playing a damn, freaking piano. Better than I could, by the way.
Props to him for the piano.
Yeah, the piano was good stuff, right? But seriously, they go to this ring because they have to sign it where it all began. Like they had that wrestling ring beforehand. I mean, I do understand they had a wrestling ring growing up, but I'm sure it happened in that barn at that house, right? And they're signing this contract, and all of a sudden here comes Rebby, and she's carrying this thing and going, that don't look like Maxwell. That don't look like Maxwell. The next thing you know, she throws this object in the ring. It's like, oh my God, here we go. It's Snitsky all over again. Somebody's gonna put this kid, right? And she literally throws a baby doll at Jeff so Matt can attack him. And I'm going, alrighty then. And then just like that, they do this spot that's going through a table, right? But it's not any table. No,
it's a motherfucking coffee table.
It's a fucking coffee table, Raven. And I gotta tell you something. Look at this coffee table, and they do it in slow-mo. And because they do it in slow-mo, it's so clear they barely touch the table anyway, right? And then Jeff Hardy's broken, and Matt declares it's over. And I'm going, okay, so I guess there's no need for a pay-per-view match. Somebody help me out here.
And let's just go ahead and say that they did this thing where like Rebby takes off and leaves, so Marv from Home Alone, and she takes the kid with her, and she takes Maxwell, and then they come back, and it's like, as this final conclusion, it's like she comes walking over, and it's unfortunately not like the old Baywatch stuff, because we got to see those things bounce a little bit. But I'm pretty sure that the fucking Cabbage Patch doll they used, or whatever that was the exact same kid that was also in the movie American Sniper. And just, my God, man, just so badly done. Like, someone has to tell Matt Hardy no. Someone has to say no. We can't fucking put this on TV. Like, people do the stupid knock, like, oh, Vince Russo never had a, or as soon as Vince McMahon was gone, Vince Russo didn't have a censor to say no, that's garbage and put it on TV. Which, believe what you want. There's two sides of the story.
Maybe Matt Hardy.
Fuck that.
Maybe Matt Hardy really did go crazy, because this has to be his brainchild. It is the most screwed up thing I think I've ever seen in my damn life. I mean, they're throwing the baby in the race.
John Gavira lost his goddamn mind too to let that shit hit the fucking screen. Like people watch that and we're like, okay, that's good. Let's put it on TV. Let's close our show with this. Let's end the fucking show on the worst segment you will probably ever see in pro wrestling ever. And it's like, hey, and guess what, guys? Highest rated show we've ever gotten last week on Pop. This'll do it. Just keep them coming back.
This is how we remind people to come back and keep watching.
Just say
I don't even
no.
know what to make of that whole segment. Like I said, I missed Impact last night, so I just tried to quickly pull up it on YouTube just so I could have my 2 cents on it, and it's just I just don't even know what to make. I'm speechless, actually. That whole throwing of the baby was just way over the top, so over dramatic. And the contract that they were even signing didn't even look like a contract. It looked like a composition notebook that they just threw together just for a prop purpose.
Numero, did you watch last week's show? They already had the contract. Freaking Jeff Hardy took it off a ladder. I don't even know why they were doing it.
It didn't make sense at all.
The contract was already done. Oh my God. This was just a way to fill TV time with complete and utter freaking nonsense, Now, I am going to do one thing. I do want to give Matt Hardy some props on one thing, guys. And I won't blame Wade Chambers if he actually cuts this, but honest to goodness, Matt Hardy, he understands what it's like to be in kayfabe, and he understands what it's like to do that on Twitter as well. Everything that he does on Twitter follows his character at all times. And I do really want to actually give him some props on that. But at the same point in time, good God above, whoever edits the show and left that in, oh, man, I don't know what to say. Ultimately, I would hope that Dixie actually watches these shows, considering how far that they're taped in advance. So, look, guys, we got some Slammiversary matches so far. It looks like, we're going to see a world title match. We got a tag title match. We've got Maria finally getting in the ring with Gail Kim. Just real quick, Numero, what are you most looking forward to at Slammiversary? And can you just give me one outcome you'd like to see the most come from Slammiversary?
Well, I pretty much already said that the match I'm looking more forward to is definitely Gail Kim versus Maria. I hope that Gail actually, gets really physical with Maria. This is a long time coming, and in the end, I hope they put on a decent match. Not a great match because that's not what I'm expecting. A decent match that gives Gail. I expect Gail to come out on top at the end, but at least gives us a great ending to this kind of story.
Yeah, be honest with you, I think for me and what I want to see on this is I really want to see what they do with the World Championship. And the outcome that comes out of this, it doesn't really matter to me so much because I feel like if they put the belt on Lashley, it means that they think he's getting ready to maybe get that Bellator shot, right? Because he keeps talking about wanting to go to the ring or the the cage with the World Heavyweight Championship on him in Bellator and then win the Bellator Championship. If Galloway retains, I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with Drew Galloway next. In a perfect world for me, I'd love to see Bobby Lashley become champ. I would love to see him unseated by Storm for champ. And then I'd eventually like to see Storm beaten by, you got it, Michael Bennett, leading into a Slammiversary match with none other than EC3.
You know, we've went out with the matches that are already been announced. I think we can also kind of assume some others. There may be Sienna versus Jade. We may see probably Bram versus Eli Drake. Good God, I hope that they do not put the Tribunal against Grado and Mahabali Shira on TV. There's a spoiler that I can't say out that makes me think there's another match. I hope to God that James Storm gets on this card, especially the thought of the Tribunal against Grado and Mahabali Shira making it on pay-per-view, but James Storm not having a match is appalling. So really, there's a lot of things I want to see. Like obviously, the Decay has to retain. I want to see James Storm get on there and have a good match and win and be successful. But there's one thing we haven't mentioned, and that is the X division. I think we're either going to see probably Trevor Lee against Eddie Edwards, or we're going to see another Ultimate X, probably adding, like Mark Andrews or Tigre Uno in there. Guys, what I want to see the most happen come out of Slammiversary is I want Eddie Edwards to become the X Division champion. The reason why I want this to happen is for a few reasons. As we talk about hashtag revive the X Division. This is the most credible X Division champion that we will get in years, not since someone with the likes of Austin Aries and Chris Sabin. We're kind of playing hot potato with it. Have we had a champion as we could with Eddie Edwards with that much of a name, prestige, and just relevance to it? And that's taking nothing away from Low Key, but Eddie Edwards is better than Low Key overall. Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards are two guys that are phenomenal. They're possibly the best tag team in the entire world, but both of these guys need to go solo. They need some solo success, and they deserve it. And hashtag revive the X Division, Eddie Edwards is where it starts, okay? And then if you think about option C, Eddie Edwards against Drew Galloway would be the biggest X Division match they can make if they're going to go the option C route for that. But if you also think back to when Bobby Lashley attacked Kurt Angle, Eddie Edwards was one of the ones to come out and save him. I want Eddie to become the X Division champ. I want to see the Wolves get the singles push as they deserve, and hashtag revive the X Division. I am so fucking excited for Slammiversary. I think it's going to be the best pay-per-view in a long time.
Hey, Griggers, you still out there, buddy? Or are you sleeping on us, man?
No, I'm still here.
All right, man. So what are you looking forward to in Slammiversary?
The EC3 versus Mike Bennett. I think that's it's very well built up. I mean, not to discard Drew Galloway and Lashley and their build up, because that's done well too. But it's just they're future main eventers. I mean, you already know EC3 was a main eventer already in the past when he had the title, but Bennett has a star written all over him. I mean, he calls himself God, but he's definitely one of the best recruits that TNA has gotten this year, him and Maria, and they're using him to his full potential. I mean, I'm looking most forward to that match. I'm glad it's not a gimmick match. I think they have enough gimmick matches on the card already. I'm at least looking forward to the Decay and the Bromance, and you guys know why. I don't think anyone's looking forward to that match.
Especially if DK loses.
Yeah.
We're all excited about Slammiversary, so I do want to sort of encourage every TNA fan out there to at least purchase the event. We only get 2 live events a year now, so why not at least just make that effort to purchase this event? We're all excited about it on the HeelCast. There's some great build up there, and even if you can't buy it yourself, at least just grab a couple of friends, pitch in together, just so we can get these numbers up, so we can show that we do need to see more live events like this on a regular basis, or at least try to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fuck it. All right, I'm in, guys. I also want to chime in here. I know I'm behind the scenes and all, and you want to talk shit about me all the time, but I want to talk about Slammiversary. One thing, I totally agree with Mr. Numero 47 there. Make sure you're actually supporting TNA. They make money off of this, and if you're a true fan, find a legitimate way to watch it. Go over to a friend's house, find it on the Flips app, and I believe there's some other ways you could watch it that are legitimate. So please support TNA for one. Don't stream, please. Don't find it on YouTube. That's not supporting TNA. That's just watching it after it's been pirated. So I just wanted to say that. That's a big thing if you really want to support TNA, and they really could use that support if anything is true that we are hearing about behind the scenes. I just wanted to get my piece on that. And also regarding Slammiversary, I am looking forward to a legitimate X Division match with some build, at least a week. That's until Slammiversary. Another thing is, I honestly think the Decay versus the Bromans could be a sleeper hit that could surprise some people, because I know the Bromans have surprised people in the past. If you recall, say, Gunner and James Storm at Slammy a few years ago. Yeah? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah? Plus the Decay. Fuck yeah. So I'm also, of course, looking forward to the World Championship match. I think that'll be spectacular. And anything Lashley's involved in and him destroying people with the spear is just awesome. So those are a few of the highlights. I'm sure I'm missing something. But you know what? I wanted my say on this piece, so y'all have a good night.
You know, Raven Effect, at some point during this broadcast, I have a sneaking suspicion Wake Chambers is going to edit himself in and say something freaking completely stupid. But regardless, I definitely
Fuck you.
support... I definitely support...
You can go to hell.
God, it's like I hear voices in my head sometimes. Good God above.
Who in the hell is Wake Chambers?
Yeah, I know. That editor guy that's always freaking muting your mic. He's gonna say something this week, I can tell.
Probably call us by our
it's
real
on,
names.
bitches.
That.
Okay, carry it on.
But look, folks, that leads us to this week's sound off. We don't know the full card yet, but we know the majority of the matches for Slammiversary, and we can guess a few more. So our sound-off question to you is this. At Slammiversary, what is the one outcome you want to happen the most? Well, folks, that's it for this week. We want you to join in for a very, very special edition of the HeelCast next week, where we will be talking Slammiversary, but not just 2016. We'll be talking about all of our favorite Slammiversary moments from all the years of TNA. It is going to be a fantastic show, and it's going to be dedicated to this wonderful pay-per-view that we have coming up. So, on behalf of the entire HeelCast, executive producer Wake Chambers, and of course, our helpful aide, Griggers12.
Yeah, Griggers! Popping that HeelCast cherry.
He has been de-virginized.
Thanks, guys.
Everyone order Slammiversary, reward TNA for actually building to a pay-per-view for once, everyone.
Folks, I'm TNA Dude saying, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Hey everybody, it's Wake Chambers, back in the editor's chair, and I'm in a little bit of withdrawal. And TNA Dude, he said I was going to say a bunch of stupid shit this week, or something to that effect, but no, I am having a little bit of outtake fever, so I'm going to let them say all the stupid shit this week. Enjoy.
If this show doesn't get a Murdoch and Griggs line, Joe can put in at some point in this year.
Yeah, we have a lot of Griggs jokes that are very subtle.
Griggs. Lethal weapon coming.
It's not
out.
like we have Griggers 12 here or something.
Hey, 1 to 11 was taken,
Get to number 12. We had to settle for
is that why it's 12? Is that right?
I'm wriggling out loud right now. By the way, is it you go by
47.
numero or is it numero?
Numero.
Motherfucker. Alright, sorry dude. That's why I've been wanting to tell you GQ47 for the longest time. Because I'm like, I don't know if it's numero or numero.
So, you can count her down.
Alright.
Shut the fuck up.
That's right.
Sorry.
Rebel gave me a like when I tried to, kind of make it sound like I was hitting on her. She gave a retweet, and I said, hey, Rebel, I think you're hotter than her, too. That means Raquel. And want more Rebel on Impact as well. And then I said, plus, I got a podcast, too, at TNA HeelCast. Didn't even get a retweet, Toots. but I'll take the like. I want to find what happened with me and Mr. Matt Hardy, as this was kind of the highlight for me. I hate this fucking computer. Just a moment, I should have my conversation with Matt Hardy.
This Matt Hardy's conversation sounds like scintillating stuff. I can't wait to finally actually get to it.
You would have done this to me as I was like, hey, ask Numero if he has anything to say first.
I did. He doesn't have anything.
That was never said once.
It's been a really quiet Twitter week for me. That's all bad. I don't want to burst your butt for Matt, but I don't think that was really Maria Canales who retweeted you. I think it was just a fan site.
I don't either. However, she had a lot of followers, and I wanted to sound really, really cool. Like, hey, check it out.
Did you realize how come Numero's Twitter week was so quiet? Don't you, Raven? Because he's been hanging with Rebel all week, buddy. You've been hitting on him, but he's been hanging with him.
That's the reason why we saw that tweet that said, I appreciate all the love that my fans are giving me right now.
That's right. And she was getting a lot of love there, wasn't she, Numero?
Say what you want. Oh my god.
You want me to pull it up
Matt
for you?
Hardy!
I hate computers. I hate being put on the spot.
This is the first time that
Wake
Raven
Chambers, I
Effect actually
legitimately
talk
apologize.
without actually talking. I mean, this just doesn't happen. Usually we have to stop.
I found it.
Oh, you found it.
This isn't even the one that
the dog ate his homework again, folks.
So I will tell you that it was either Saturday or Sunday, though. I'm not going to search for that one, but I believe it actually may have been on the HeelCast account. But Matt Hardy had said something in response to. I actually sent out a tweet that said they got to stop having Matt Hardy open up the show because he's a ratings killer. #ratings killer. And he retweeted and responded and said something about ignorant fans like us don't realize that.
I have that up for you. Do you want me to read that for you?
Is it the one about his?
I'm sure my segments are in the.
Oh yeah, I have that one up now too. But, so Saturday he said that. Yesterday, being Tuesday before Impact started, someone just asked me what guys in TNA I would like to say gone. I won't say the first three names, and then I said I'd rather have no Matt Hardy than him being the champion, main eventing, or the main focus of the show. He retweeted and responded, I'll make sure my segments are in the main event slot for the immediate future. Mindless fans like you are why I'm broken. Which was disappointing because I didn't get called an internet ass nobody. I kept on trying, but it didn't work. I did tell him right after that I did love him in The Bride of Frankenstein, but really it just, despite my best efforts, to not get called an internet ass nobody. So Matt Hardy, if you're listening, you can call me that anytime, buddy. Anytime.
And he's kind of got that facial hair of a heel anyway, Numero. I mean, where does he go from here? Is he just going to be this kind of underdog character? I mean, how do they work him into a storyline?
By Numero, you meant Raven Effect. I don't know.
Hey, Raven, let me actually re-record that because I wasn't following the thing. Just make it a little easier.
Wait, can't read either.
Yeah, we had to ruin that for TNA, dude.
You want me to re-record it? But look, let me.
Wait, on what?
But
I think it worked out good, dude.
Golden.
I think the way we ended that was good.
No. I think if I know it's coming, when I say our helpful bud, Bringers 12, I'll just stop and let you guys go.
Okay.
Right? And then I'll pick back up and say it. Because I kept talking over you, and I think that's what ruined it. You guys were gold. All right? All right, so let's do this again in 3.
He's got the golden voice, man.
I want to hear him say
I
more.
think he'd be better.
That motherfucker can talk as fast as he wants, and everyone's still, oh yeah. Drop that voice, dude.
Yeah, any couples that listen to us want to make love after listening to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's the reason the ladies are listening. I'm glad you're getting lucky with Grigger.
Oh yeah. Pop that HeelCast cherry a second way. Talking butthole. Talking butt play.
That's right.
I went there.
Yes, you did.
Just kidding. I'm married to a woman, Griggers. It's all right.
Hey, wait. You still got your group record going?
Yes, I do.
That shit's going on at the end.
Actually,
And the
stopped
outtake
recording, and then I hit record because I'm like, magic is gonna happen right now.
Magic always happens at the end, baby.